Going bankruptcy in my early 20s done saved my life. And you're probably wondering, like, wait, how did going bankruptcy in your early 20s save your life? Well, I'm going to tell you right here. This whole channel is about me being authentic, telling my life stories, giving advice, whatever the case is. So, we're going to go back to when I was 18, 19, when I was in college. I was already a couple years into making music. I was doing music when I was in high school, right? But it wasn't until I first got into college and I got that first refund. If you know what I mean, when that refund check hits, it's like hitting the lottery. Think about it. 18, 19, six, seven, $8,000 to my name, which student loans you got to pay back. But me back then, I was a little bit impulsive with my decisions, and I was full throttle into music. So I would use these chats to buy music equipment, buy programs, this, that, and the third, and again in credit cards, maxing out my credit cards. At one point, I had like five or six credit cards, maybe even more. And so my financial journey wasn't that great in the beginning. I didn't really have anyone tell me how the credit card worked. I had my first credit card in high school, right? It was only like a $300 limit. Fast forward a couple years later, five, six, seven credit cards, refunds, personal loans I was taking out because I was taking the personal loans, paying off the credit cards, and I was using my refund to pay off the credit cards. So it was pretty much like this cycle of debt I was going into because I would pay off my credit cards and then I would match them back out. So I get into my early 20s. I'm pretty much doing the same thing, right? And it wasn't until I got 25, 26, I'm like, man, I am 10K plus in debt. And it was just stacking up. I'm not going to lie to you. And it wasn't until last year I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't. I can't save any money. My jobs are not paying me enough. And years before that, I was pretty much a provider to a woman that I am no longer with. And women are your most expensive expenses. With all this debt, didn't graduate college. Now I'm back in college, finishing my last semester to get a degree. It's just like, where am I going to get this extra money? Since I was no longer in college, those refunds checks were not hitting anymore. And so I'm just stressed out, like anxiety ridden. Mind you, I had undiagnosed ADHD. And where do you think my impulsive decisions were coming from? ADHD. I didn't have any control. And I'm not even doing music to this day. So I did all that essentially for no reason if you look at it in like hindsight, but I gained a lot of skills. I went out there and I experienced life down there being homeless. At one point, I didn't have a job. I was just door dashing, and my mom and brother was helping me out with my bills. Mind you, my car note is $512. Insurance is around like $400 probably at that time. Still had bills, still had credit cards to pay off, personal loans. I had a couple of those. So last year, I was probably around like in my head, mind you, I'm thinking like 10, 15K in debt, and I'm not going to pay that off anytime soon. If I can't save money and I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I'm just not going to get far in life. And thank God that happened years ago instead of happening in this time period with how this economy is going. I probably would have been homeless. Well, my mom wouldn't allow that. But if I was truly on my own with no help or support, I would have been homeless. Probably not even living in the car because it would have got repoed. Right. And so one day last year, around August, September, I had a major breakdown. I remember I was driving to work and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm crying and I'm going to work. Like, if you ever drove to work crying, you know what I mean. You're driving to like a dead end job. Mind you, I was working in HR. This is like my first HR gig. And it wasn't paying that much. It was nice to have a salary job. Like, I ain't had to clock in no more, but it wasn't getting me out of debt. And so I had this genius idea because years ago I Googled bankruptcy and I was terrified. You want to know why? Because the black community looks down upon bankruptcy. I even told my mom, I was like, Mom, I might just do bankruptcy. And she was pretty much my financial advisor. She was keeping track of all my expenses. Oh, I did not like that, but she was helping me out so much, right? She'll bail me out my credit card debt sometimes. So I just run it back up because I just wasn't good with money. And so this time I'm like, you know what? I am not going to tell her that I'm about to go through bankruptcy. I only told one person that I trust, and he works in finance. So go figure, right? The irony. So I did a little bit of research, right? Chapter 7, Chapter 13, I think that's the other one. Chapter 7 is the most common one. The other one is pretty much with businesses and you got like a large amount of debt. But, I did my research on TikTok, Google, Reddit is my go to place when it comes to getting personal experiences and much more. I'm just like, F it. I'm just about to go through with it. So one day I was at work and I just Google bankruptcy, chapter 7, lawyers, and the first one popped up. I was like, I'm not going to do my research on this law firm, which you should always do. But I was like, at this point, I am desperate. I'm desperate. So this is what we're going to do. And so I submitted my information, free consultation, called out of work one day and went to my appointment. I remember I'm like, you know what? My life is going to change. It is going to change because at this point, if I didn't make that decision, I don't know where I would be at right now. And I remember driving there. It was like somewhere north Georgia, and I used to work in East Point. And I drove. And once I got there, I walked in there and I let the receptionist know, like, hey, this is my name. I'm here for my consultation. I sit down. The law firm was nice. It was fancy. I didn't know what to expect. But of course, before you go in, you fill out some paperwork and stuff like that. And the attorney came in and he's like, hey, you can follow me back here. Cool, tall, white boy, probably like in his late 20s, early 30s. We sat down in this big conference room. They had a projector on the screen and he's sitting across from me. And we get to talking, he's just making small talk, right? And then we get into the nitty gritty and we're breaking stuff down. He's letting me know about the process. Hey, this is how this is going to go. Fill out this paperwork, list all the debt that you have that you can think of. And when we did that, he broke down the numbers. I remember him telling me because he gave me the price of the whole process and like, the attorney fees and all that. He was like, would you rather pay 300 something dollars a month for the next 6 months to get rid of 30K plus debt? Or would you rather try to get rid of that on your own? Dog, I didn't think for 1 second. I was like, you're absolutely right. We're going to go through with this. Boom. Leave that meeting and I go home. I'm happy. I'm smiling. I'm like, okay, this is it. And the first step to get that process going is to pay the attorney fee. I got paid that next week. I dropped 300, almost $400. I was like, that's the first bill that I'm paying. And I sent that money in and the process got started. But boy, did I tell you, I was nervous. I never had any experience legal wise, but I trusted the process. The process took from September all the way to February. It would have been January, but October they got really, really busy. But once I submitted the payment, they sent me over the paperwork to fill out the petition. It's called a Chapter 7 petition. And you'll get like a trustee and you'll get someone from the firm to actually help you out because the attorney is not going to help you out. I forgot the job title, but throughout the process, we was talking and communicating. It wasn't that often. And once the petition got filed, I actually looked at it. One day, I might actually just go through the petition and show y'all like how it goes. And my debt, you got to remember this, including the student loans. Student loans don't get erased when you go to bankruptcy. Was around like 60, $70,000. Erase the student loans. I had like 30, $40,000 in debt. Yo. And when I actually sat down and look at this petition, look at all the debt that I had, I'm like, what was I doing? I'm glad that I took risk early on in my early 20s because if I would have did this now, no telling where I will be and how damaged I will be. And so this whole process starts and once you submit the filing fee, your creditors, car loan, all that good stuff right there, people who are taking money from you like to pay a debt off, it stops. It all pauses until the bankruptcy case is over with. And so That little bit of financial freedom that I had from September all the way to February and not having to pay any debt, bro, that was beautiful. And the amount of peace, tranquility, I got me back. I got me back. And of course, throughout the whole process, right, I'm still having anxiety, but I'm way much calm. I'm overthinking because, hey, one, I'm unmedicated when it comes to my ADHD. And so the biggest thing for me was, hey, I need to keep my car. I wish I had money stacked up because if not, you could have took my car. I would have let the court take my car. I don't want this debt. Right? My car note is like 512 a month. I just would have got a car on the side of the street. I'm tired of paying monthly car notes. Car notes will set you back so far. It stops you from achieving your dream if you have a huge car note. Please remember this. And I didn't have to pay it for months. And so I was able to stack up and stuff like that. And then you get to a point where in the process you have a 314 meeting, and this is with, the trustee of the court and like your case manager. And I was so nervous. When I tell you I was researching, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But the research I was looking at on Reddit was like, yo, this 314 meeting, it's like the meeting of the minds, essentially. And so, well, what the judge would do is just ask you 5 to 10 questions, basic questions. Hey, what's your name? Do you know what you're filing for? Like, what chapter are you filing for? Do you have any businesses? This, that, and the third. It's a whole bunch. And you just be straight up honest. Yes, no, yeah, this was this was that. And boom. And then, like a month later, you will get pretty much the results of it. And I was on this website, and you can access it too, called Pacer, and you can look up your case and it'll show you all these updates about your case. And then one day I looked on there and my case was finalized. All that debt that I had outside my student loans and my car were gone. So my paycheck went from like 80% to bills and debt, dropped down to like 10 to 20% of my check that I'm paying towards debt, right? It might be even less. I am free. I am free from all the personal loans. I am free from all the buy now, pay later. That was killing me. I had Afterpay, Affirm, Klarna, Sizzle, and it was probably something else that I had. And I had so much money that I owed. It was insane. All that was gone. Personal loans gone. Credit card debt gone. Did I lose all those accounts? Essentially. Like it clears your credit report, dog. Like I had a whole bunch of charge offs. All that's gone. Like late payments, all that's gone. I had my credit card since high school. It's gone, but I'd rather all that debt be gone and then to still be struggling. When I tell you the peace that I had throughout the whole thing, I was living life like I had already made it. I don't think y'all understand the level of peace that financial freedom can bring you. Yes, I still have my car note, but it's cool. Eventually, I'm gonna pay it off. I would rather pay the 512 than pay 512 plus however much money a paycheck. I couldn't even enjoy my paycheck. Do y'all realize living paycheck to paycheck? Actually, y'all do. Most of y'all who's probably going to listen, living paycheck to paycheck ain't fun. You get 1 or 2 days after you get paid to enjoy your paycheck, and the rest of it's going to bills. Bills. And so once my case got finalized, it was like the first true breath of fresh air. If you don't know what peace feels like, get rid of your debt. I'm not advocating for bankruptcy, but it is a tool. This is what rich people do all the time. I'm not joking. The best example that I can think of is Rihanna. Rihanna was making a lot of money. She went bankrupt and now she's a billionaire. This is how you get the financial success. If you have a whole bunch of debt, it's okay. Yeah, it'll stay on your record for a long time. But after the first 90 days, you get a credit card and you keep good payment history. Whatever you do, just make sure your financial accounts are in good shape. Eventually, it's not going to be a problem. You will be able to rent a home. Your credit score will shoot up. Dog, my credit score went from like 500 all the way up to 700. Like, dog, what? What? You telling me my credit score has shot all the way up to the high 600s to 700? I got one credit card right now. Just one credit card I am focusing on. I'm not getting multiple credit cards, so I am sure that I can handle multiple credit cards. Now, do I still use the buy now, pay later? Yeah, I do. It's this app called for. But guess what? I'm putting a limit to how many orders I do. This is financial freedom. I can breathe. It's a clean slate. I don't gotta worry. I can actually stack money. It saved my life. It saved my mental health. My mental health was at the lowest that it could be possible. The only thing that I can hang on to get the dopamine because my ADHD was unmedicated was addictions. That's what it was because that's the only happiness that I could get. Just because you're in your early 20s and you go bankrupt doesn't mean the world is ending. It actually means that you get a reset on adulthood. Now, I'm not saying if you're in your teens, do it. I'm not even advocating for bankruptcy. It just has a negative stigma upon it. And what I am telling you right now, that F that negative stigma, it is a tool for financial freedom. If you go bankrupt once and you actually change your bad financial habits, it can shoot you into success at a higher percent. I am the happiest I ever been in my life. I am not stressed about money. I don't have to worry about my account getting very, very low. It is rare that that will happen. Like, I have money to save. I have money to spend. There's no more stress upon me financially unless I get myself into that situation again. That's the key. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to take accountability. While, yes, a lot of people go through bankruptcy more than once, if you do it one good time, 6 to 12 months from now, your financial accounts are positive. Welcome to the new you and your new life. I have a new lease on life. That's how bankruptcy saved me. Because if I didn't do it, who knows if I will still be here right now. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm not telling you to go through bankruptcy, but ask yourself, is it worth it? Would you rather pay $300 to $400 a month for like 6 months to get rid of most, if not all, your debt, or spend the next 10 to 15 years paying off all your debt, and then you can actually enjoy life? Think about that.